So I've recently added this new expenses sheet to the independent tutor payment and lesson tracker. And I just want to sort of take you on a tour of what this sheet does and kind of give you an overview of the utility of it. So first and foremost, of course, it's here to sort of keep track of all your expenses as an independent tutor. But secondly, it will also allow you to issue those expenses to targeted clients if you would need to do that. The third thing, and this is mostly for, let's say, American teachers, it is going to help you out with your taxes come tax season. So this whole section here is basically reserved for that. And we'll get to that in a little bit. But first, I just want to show you sort of the mechanisms here. So let's say you have an expense, right? So you're going to put the date of that purchase there. If it is an expense that is just issued to yourself, so for example, equipment, I'm going to click here, self here, and the student is also going to be self. And let's say I got a new printer for my tutoring business. That cost $102 or $101. And I will make it deductible for now. So we'll just say yes there. You don't have to worry about the invoice status because you're not really preparing an invoice for yourself, right? So that is going to have a better utility for this next example I'm about to show you, which is if you do have expenses that you want to issue towards your students, right? So that could be something like a book or travel costs, right? So what I'll do is I'll put the date of that expense. I'll include, the client I'm trying to target that expense towards to charge. And I'm going to say what that was. So it's going to be here, we'll say travel. So I'll just say, it could be just, I don't know, we'll say $5 of travel for a particular lesson, an individual lesson. And I don't need to put anything in the description here. This is more for your own records. And we'll do another expense here to the same student. This could just be, let's say, a workbook. Let's just put transit here, just for fun. And the workbook will be $18. And again, I can make these deductible. Maybe just for fun, I'll say that this isn't deductible because that will, you'll see what that does in just a moment. But because these are going to a student, this is something you are going to invoice them about. You're going to say here on the invoice status, you have these 4 options here. I haven't invoiced this yet, so I'm going to say it's ready to bill, right? So if you click that, what's going to happen is that if you go to your invoice generator, when it comes time to invoice that student for their lesson, so for example, we'll go to that same student. You see it auto-populates everywhere, the billing address. It auto-populates outstanding lessons that need to be charged. You're also going to see on the bottom, there is this reimbursable expenses, and that will include both the materials and travels. And so that total cost there is $23, right? So that is going to be included into the subtotal and total for that invoice. So once you've set that invoice, it's really just a simple procedure. I would change that status to, okay, it's invoiced, right? Or, by the time that they pay, I'll switch it over to paid, right? So what that does is it tells the system that, the student is already paid for that. And so, that is accounted for. So it means that, when you do a later expense for that same student, we'll do another travel expense here, transit. Let's just say instead we'll do $7 this time. Let's go here, yeah. So I'll say it's ready to build because I didn't put that in my initial invoice. And so when you go back to the invoice generator, you go back here and you see that it's only accounting for that $7 of travel that wasn't already included in the previous invoice. So it accounts for that so that, you know, you're not double charging the client for those expenses. So that's how that works there. And of course, it's just a log of your expenses. Now, if we go to the other part of this, you're going to see here that this is for your taxes. So we remember that we had a printer here that, I'll say that this is an office expense, let's say, or even we can make it equipment. Let's do that. And these were transportation costs, so I'll mark it here. So the categories on this tax category is what the same tax categories are for U.S. taxes issued by the IRS. So that's why it's sort of its separate sort of thing on the right over here. This was not for travel, was it? This was for a workbook. Again, we could say this is supplies, materials, and then this was another transportation cost, right? You'll also want to put in what percentage of that resource is being used for your business. So for example, if you're doing like a home office expense, maybe you're not using that particular feature for 100% business. That printer, for example, maybe it's 75% for my business, whereas of course the travel will be 100% business, 100% here for supplies. You want to mark if you have your receipts for those there, so just you have that logged. If you don't have a receipt, or if it's lost or missing, you'll click that. And that's mostly for auditing purposes. So once you've sort of clicked all that, then you'll see here that this part logs all of your sort of deductible expenses, your expenses in general for the current year and also for the previous year. So you're going to see the total amount of deductibles, potential deductibles. And then it logs it, based off of the category. So we have the travel here, we have the equipment and software here, right? And just to let you know here, so basically, let's take this. It's not registering the workbook. So because I didn't make it deductible, right? So if you, for example, if I take the printer, right, it doesn't include it in that deductible, right? Because I said it's not deductible, right? So it does register those types of changes. And just one final thing here is at the bottom, you'll see the audit readiness section. And this is really just, again, for your own purposes, but it just is a one-stop shop where it logs sort of any sort of missing or lost receipts you might have. So here for the current year, we've registered that we have one lost receipt, and it also will calculate the total of those lost receipts there, right? So that's purely for audit reasons, but I guess that's about it. So I hope you found this to be useful. And thank you for your time.